On December 13th, 2000, 7 men walked out of a Texas prison without a trace. They weren't just any ordinary escapees. These men were hardened criminals, each one with a history of violent crimes, but none had ever done something so brazen. They didn't crawl through sewage pipes or climb walls. No, they just walked right out. This wasn't an ordinary escape. This was an audacious heist that shook the prison system to its core. But what makes their escape even more shocking? They weren't just trying to flee. They had a deadly plan, and it was all about to unfold in a way nobody saw coming. The men, known as the Texas 7, were housed in the Connolly Unit, a maximum security facility near San Antonio, Texas. The plan had been set in motion months earlier, and on that fateful December day, it all came to fruition. It wasn't just the sheer number of men involved that made the escape so remarkable. It was how they did it. Prison guards were stunned. No one could believe it when they realized the inmates had simply vanished, gone. But how could a group of 7 escape such a heavily guarded facility? It didn't add up, and it was only a matter of time before the truth started to leak out. The initial investigation was a disaster. Guards swore they had followed all protocol. They checked the cells. The men were accounted for, and yet they weren't there. The doors were locked. The windows bolted shut. But when the officers checked the security cameras, nothing. No footage. It was like the men had disappeared into thin air. But something wasn't right. One of the first questions raised was, how could 7 inmates, each with their own violent history, coordinate such an escape without anyone noticing? The prison wasn't exactly a welcoming environment. The Texas 7 had no trust between them. Yet somehow they managed to unite for one purpose: escape. What was the missing piece? As the investigation unfolded, a shocking twist came to light. The prison had recently undergone a massive security upgrade. New locks, new cameras, better fences. And just weeks before the escape, 2 guards had mysteriously gone missing. It was all starting to feel orchestrated. And then one of the escapees, a man named Randy Halpern, suddenly started talking. Halpern wasn't just a fugitive, he was a psychopath. He'd been convicted of the brutal murder of a police officer during a robbery. But here's where it gets insane. He admitted to helping plan the escape from the inside, but he also confessed to a much darker secret. Halpern revealed that there had been a mole in the prison, someone on the inside who had been feeding the Texas 7 information, preparing them for the perfect moment. That mole, one of the guards who had gone missing. But who? And why did they help them? What was their motivation? Just as authorities were piecing together the puzzle, a chilling new detail emerged. A truck was stolen from a nearby dealership the night of the escape. It wasn't any ordinary truck. This wasn't some random getaway car. It was a truck used for heavy machinery, one that could haul anything, including a massive stash of weapons. The Texas 7 didn't just escape, they were armed. And once they were out, they weren't just going to run. They had a plan. They stormed through towns, hijacking vehicles and terrorizing anyone in their way. Their aim wasn't just to get away, they were going for broke. A bank robbery, a series of armed thefts. They were on the run, leaving a trail of chaos. The escape had gone from a prison break to an all-out crime spree, and they weren't slowing down. But then the unthinkable happened. 3 days after their escape, the Texas 7 pulled off an unimaginable heist, a robbery of a store owned by none other than a local police officer. They didn't just rob it, they murdered him in cold blood. The escapees now had the police and FBI on their tail, and the media was hungry for more details. News outlets were reporting non-stop. Authorities were closing in, and yet, despite all the evidence, the Texas 7 seemed to disappear again. A silent game of cat and mouse. And then, just as the manhunt hit its peak, An anonymous tip led authorities to a remote cabin in the woods. The tension was palpable. Was this the end of the road? Would they finally catch the Texas Seven? But when the authorities raided the cabin, no one was there. The Texas Seven had vanished once again. What happened next? Were the escapees caught? Did the mystery of the mole in the prison ever get solved? And who helped them vanish into thin air again? Stay tuned for more, where the shocking truth behind the Texas Seven's escape will finally be uncovered.